All right, everyone. Hello, and welcome to day 2 of this podcast. And today we're going to be reviewing the past 11 games for this season for the Buckeyes. And, just kind of reviewing their overall stats and just seeing how they did as a team and also as a few players. So with that, let's get to our theme song. All right. So today we're gonna do the first game, which was against the Indiana Hoosiers for the Buckeyes. Pull that up. So, Buckeyes versus the Indiana Hoosiers. It was their first away game, first game of the season. Buckeyes won that game 23-3, 20-point deficit. So, pretty good job for them. And honestly, when realizing like the quarterback comparison here, we'll just do that for now and maybe just the receiving. But Kyle McCord was 20 for 33, 239 yards and an interception. Now I'm pretty sure this is one of the games where they played both the players. But then Brendan Sorsby, so he was 50%, 8 for 16, but only 58 yards. Like you gotta get more than that. And then their running back for the Indiana Hoosiers, Christian Turner, had 7 carries and 29 yards. So really, their wideout, Cam Camper, that's what a name, Cam Camper, 3 receptions, 35 yards. So they might barely just be below 100 yards. When you look at our other Ohio State's receiver, 5 receptions, 98 yards, Cade Stover, boy. It's crazy because he grew up not too far away, so from here. But Chip Trayanum, their running back for the Buckeyes, 8 carries, 57 yards. I think Travion Henderson and Mayan Williams were they were kind of hurt in that game, so I don't think none of them really played. Oh, I'm going way too far back. Okay, give me one sec. Alright, I'm back up. Sorry. Second game was against Youngstown State. 35-7. Buckeyes win. 28-point deficit. Mitch Davidson, Youngstown State. QB, 12 for 18, not bad. 98 yards, so it was decent. Tyshun King, their running back. 12 carries, 66 yards. Max Tomczak. I don't know. 3 receptions, 53 yards. And then, when you realize how he won, there's just no doubt. Kyle McCord, 14 for 20, 258 yards, 3 touchdowns. Travion Henderson, 5 carries, 56 yards, 2 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison Jr., 7 receptions, 160 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This is why we're one of the best teams in the gosh darn league. Next game was against the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. 63-10, final score for that one. Go Bucks. Whoop whoop, am I right? I'm just a huge Buckeyes fan, so this is... I'm only going to talk about the Buckeyes stats for this one. Kyle McCord, 19 for 23, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. Travion Henderson, 13 carries, 88 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This is just crazy. Marvin Harrison Jr., 5 receptions, 128 yards, and a touchdown from Kyle McCord. So, yeah, there you have it. And we all know that the Buckeyes are really, they're mostly a second half team, but in this game, boy, I don't know. That second quarter was just a blowout. 7-3 at the end of the first quarter, and then it was 10-49. Am I saying that right? Yeah. 10-42. 10-42 at the end at halftime, and boy, the Buckeyes just had a shutout for the rest of the time for that one. So basically, no doubt about it, Buckeyes are way better than the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky. We all know that. And you might have noticed in the Michigan podcast, I didn't actually say this in the podcast, but we should be ranked higher than Michigan for a reason. Because we have played a lot harder teams, and this is one of the reasons why we should be ahead of them. We played the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and we won 17-14, just barely. Both teams not getting a single point in the first quarter. And then at halftime, it was only 3-0 Buckeyes in the lead. And then it was just a touchdown apiece in both the the third and fourth quarter, resulting in the Buckeyes winning 17-14 on that final drive. I wish we could get I might put up a little clip of that last drive. I'll put a clip up of that touchdown so you can see why we're just the best team in the league, honestly. But their stats that day: Kyle McCord, 21 for 37, 240 yards. Travion Henderson, 14 carries, 140 yards, and 1 touchdown. And Emeka Ibuka, 7 receptions, 96 yards. Now, I guess I'll do Notre Dame stats because I kind of know some of their players. Mostly their quarterback. Sam Hartman, 17 for 25, 175 yards, 1 touchdown. Audric Esteem, their rusher, 14 carries, 70 yards. Mitchell Evans, 7 carries, 75 yards. 7 receptions, but... So, this game really could have gone anyway, and I am just so happy that the Buckeyes won, because if we lost, we probably wouldn't even be where we are right now, at this high of skill level. Now, we talked about the recent Maryland and Michigan game. We all know Michigan barely won, but for us, we beat them by 20. 37-17, Buckeyes take it. Kyle McCord, 19 for 29, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chip Trainum, 20 carries, 61 yards, and 1 touchdown. Remember, a lot of this season, Travion Henderson and Lyon Williams were just out or hurt, so they didn't play him much. Marvin Harrison Jr., 8 receptions, 163 yards, and a touchdown. And for the Maryland Terrapins, Tuila Tagovailoa was about 50%, 21 for 41, not bad. He had 196 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions, so that was probably one of the reasons why we were up by so much. Antoine Littleton II had 11 carries and 38 yards, and Deshaun Jones, spelled with a J, Deshaun Jones, 5 receptions and 59 yards. The rest of the season, these Buckeyes have just been pouring it on, offensively and defensively. We probably got a couple of fumbles in that game. I might remember that game. 41-7, Ohio State over Purdue, and that made them go 6-0. And it was just a shutout in almost every single quarter, but the fourth. And our backup quarterback actually got a rushing touchdown on that one. Good for him. Kyle McCord, 16 for 28, 276 yards, 3 touchdowns. Dalian Hayden. Okay, I'm a really big Buckeyes fan, but I do not know Dalian Hayden. I'm sorry I don't know you, but you did great. Great job. 11 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown. And Marvin Harrison Jr. had 6 receptions, 105 yards, and a touchdown. I don't think I'm going to do the Purdue stats because I don't really know much about Purdue. So we'll just skip over them. Then Ohio State and Penn State. When Penn State was ranked 6, the Buckeyes were ranked 3, and now we're back to 2. We were ranked 1 for 1 week. No, 2. 2 weeks. This is me and Travis, this is just me today, but me and Travis talked about yesterday. We talked about the Michigan-Penn State game 2 weeks ago. How if Penn State won, we would be at a whole different position right now, and we wouldn't have to win in order to in order to maybe make the Big Ten championship game. But it was the same way with us, like a few weeks before they actually played Michigan, where if we lost, like we could be out of contention for the top 4. We won by 8 though, close fought game. Good job to both teams. 20-12. Drew Allard for the Penn State Nittany Lions was 18 for 42, not good. 191 yards, so still decent overall, and a touchdown. Nick Singleton had 9 carries, 48 yards. DeAndre Lambert Smith, 6 receptions, 52 yards. And then I'll just switch over to the Buckeyes. Marvin Harrison Jr. had 11 receptions, 162 yards, and a touchdown. Mayan Williams, who is now out for the season, 24 carries, 62 yards, and a touchdown. And then Kyle McCord, 22 for 35, 286 yards, and a touchdown pass. Good job, Bucks. Going into our next game, it will be against the Wisconsin Badgers, our second primetime game. And we won 24-10 over the Wisconsin Badgers. Kyle McCord, 17 for 26, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. I mean, that was just a good, stellar game overall. The Badgers quarterback, Braden Locke with an E, I guess? I don't know. 18 for 39, 165 yards, and 1 touchdown pass. And then their rusher for the Badgers, Braylon Allen, 10 carries, 50 yards. And then Will Pauling, 4 carries, 51 yards, and a receiving touchdown. Switching over to the Buckeyes now. Marvin Harrison Jr., top receiver, as always. 6 receptions, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Travion Henderson, top rusher for the Buckeyes. 24 carries, 162 yards, and a touchdown. And then Kyle McCord, our quarterback, 17 for 26, had 226 yards, had 2 touchdowns, but also had 2 interceptions. So, it wasn't the best, but he did good. I mean, he got 226 passing yards that game. So, bravo. Even though he had a decent completion percentage, I'd say it was pretty good. But those 2 interceptions, just kind of the thing that just, So, next game was against Rutgers. Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Ohio State, 35. Rutgers Scarlet Knights, 16. Kyle McCord, 19 for 26. 189 yards, 3 touchdowns, and interception. Travion Henderson, 22 carries, 128 yards, and a touchdown. Travion Henderson, top receiver, 5 receptions and 80, does that count? 80 receiving yards. I don't know if that would count for his rushing yards. Probably not. So he got over 200 yards total. So good job for Travion Henderson. Christian Dremel for the Scarlet Knights. 5 receptions, 69 yards. Kyle Monagai had 24 carries and 159 yards. And Gavin Wimsatt, 10 for 25, 129 yards, 1 touchdown, and an interception. So both quarterbacks were even with an interception. But in the end, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights were not enough for the world-famous Ohio State Buckeyes. Week after that, 38-3, Ohio State over Michigan State. We talked about the Michigan State game. Actually, that's in the thumbnail of the previous video of the final score. It was 49-0 Michigan over Michigan State. But boy, I mean, we might not be as good as Michigan right now. the Buckeyes are, but I mean, to still win by 38 points, I mean, I'd take that. They're a bad team. We should be expected. We should be expected every week for every team who doesn't have more than at least 4 or 5 wins. We should be expected to win by at least 35 points. We should be. We are the world famous Ohio State Buckeyes. We are one of the best teams in college football. And we have been at that ranking for several years. So it's just crazy. Kattenhauser, 12 for 24, 50% for Michigan State. 92 passing yards. Nathan Carter, 11 carries and 52 yards. Christian Fitzpatrick had 2 receptions and 23 yards. And then for the Ohio State Buckeyes, Marvin Harrison Jr., 7 receptions, 149 yards, and 2 passing touchdowns from Kyle McCord. Travion Henderson had 13 carries, 63 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. Kyle McCord threw for 3 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison caught 2. 335 yards, and he was 24 for 31. Good game for the world-famous Ohio State Buckeyes. So there's one more game that we are going to go to before the end of this episode. That is the Minnesota Golden Gophers that was just last Saturday, a few days ago, and the Ohio State Buckeyes. And once again, we beat them by 34 points. I believe Cade Stover had a touchdown on that game, and that's just my main man. I love that guy. Athan Kalikmanis, whatever his last name is, for the Minnesota Golden Gophers, 11 for 19, 89 yards, and 1 interception. Jordan Newman, 19 carries, 49 yards. And then Corey Grooms, their top receiver, 2 receptions and 42 yards. Switching over to the Buckeyes, Kyle McCord, 20 for 30. Good game for him. He had 212 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Travion Henderson, 15 carries, 146 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Emeka Ibuka, their top receiver, 5 receptions and 83 yards. And the Buckeyes shut out the Minnesota Golden Gophers in every quarter but the last, allowing only a field goal, but overall, a good game for the Ohio State Buckeyes. First quarter got 7, second quarter got 6, third quarter had 17, fourth quarter had 7, equaling up to 37. And now, this is it. It's all about the game, as the Ohio State Buckeyes are going to the Big House after Michigan recently picking up their 1,000th win of the year. That game will be on Fox. I cannot wait to watch it. I'm pumped. Like, if we lose this, I might go nuts. 3 years in a row. We cannot lose this game. We cannot. Last year, let me take a review of that. Last year, Michigan beat us at home, 45-23. J.J. McCarthy that year was 12 for 24, so he was 50% on throwing, 263 yards and 3 touchdowns. Donovan Edwards, their top rusher, 22 carries, 216 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Cornelius Johnson had 4 receptions, 160 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And unfortunately, the Bucs just couldn't say the same. C.J. Stroud did throw a lot. Remember, again, this was when C.J. Stroud was with Buckeyes. It did stink that Stroud couldn't ever get a win against Michigan. I mean, it really does. 31 for 48, 349 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Chip Traynum, 14 carries, 83 yards. Emeka Ibuka, 9 receptions, 125 yards, and 1 touchdown pass caught. Now remember, we are still a very, very, very young team. We are young. I mean, yeah, Kyle McCord is in his junior year. Yes, Marvin Harrison's in his junior year. Yes, Cade Stover is in his junior year. But we're really good. We can handle them well. So I think that's all the time we've got for today. And thank you guys so much for listening in once again. And we'll see you guys in the next one tomorrow, Wednesday, day 3 of 5 of this podcast series. So that's it. See you, everyone.